2021 has been the most significant year so far in the development of Ashes of Creation. From July to August, we finally got to see and experience the game firsthand with its Alpha 1 test that showed various working features such as nodes leveling up, questing, an early look at the hybrid combat system, castle sieges, world bosses gathering, and open world PvP. Over the past 2 years, public perception of this game has shifted from it being a pipe dream that will never release, to something that most MMO players are cautiously optimistic for, and on the December 23rd update livestream, Intrepid Studios dropped a massive announcement about the future of Ashes that we'll be discussing in this video. But before we get into it, a quick word from today's sponsor. Albion Online is a free-to-play cross-platform sandbox MMORPG available on Steam, Android and iOS that recently released a massive update called Lands Awakened that brings big changes to PvP, PvE, quality of life and open world gameplay. My favourite feature added with this latest update is the new open world PvE monster scaling system. The longer mobs in the world are left alive, the more powerful and rewarding they become. This has helped add an additional sense of excitement and exploration when exploring the world, and has also given value to playing in less frequented areas of the map. This update also introduced a new weapon to the game known as the War Gloves, massive open world graphical improvements including biome and sub-biome reworks to make the world more interesting. Endgame PvP saw a lot of love with the introduction of guild headquarters and new open world capturable PvP objectives for guilds, as well as making open world PvP more solo friendly thanks to randomly spawning treasure sites for players to fight over in the world. If you're a fan of sandbox MMORPGs, Albion Online is one of your best options to play right now, and it keeps getting better with every update. For a full explanation of Lands Awakened and a general overview of the game, check out my recent video linked in the top right and click the link in the description below to play Albion Online for free on your platform of choice. So what was this big end of year announcement for Ashes of Creation? Unreal Engine 5. Intrepid Studios are currently updating the Ashes engine from Unreal 4 to Unreal 5, and from a development standpoint this is a massive decision that seems as though it'll result in some short-term delays, but a much smoother and efficient development pipeline going forward. Let's play the trailer from the recent livestream, pay attention to the reflections, the holes in the cave where the light is shining through, and the weather effects. It looks so good. Obviously, changing a game's engine mid-development is going to bring up a few questions. When I first saw the announcement, my initial reaction was hype, followed by then questioning how much this would delay the release of the game by, and also does Steven have the funds to support any unforeseen delays as a result of this. After watching the recent livestream, I'm still unclear about how much of a delay will be caused by this change, if any. On one hand, you've got all of the initial work, migrating everything over to UE5, re-evaluating existing assets, and incorporating the new tech such as Lumen and Nanite to existing areas of the world, and on the other hand, UE5 allows multiple developers to be able to work on the same sub-level at the same time, whereas with UE4 it was locked to only one person at a time, so in the long run this could result in faster development.
The pipeline, the way in which developers work in UE4 was through a sub-level system, right? Where you had to check out a sub-level and only one developer at a time could work within that sub-level. However, UE5 now utilizes the world loading in cells rather, and this allows for artists and designers to be able to work in the same level without having to lock it to just one person at a time. That's a huge benefit given the nature of what an MMO is, right? And how much exists really in these sub-levels, or now cells. And
from a workflow standpoint, it's like basically in Perverse, I have to check something out. And then in order for someone else to check it out, they have to like message me and be like, hey, can you check that in so that I can check that out? Because I need to implement my thing.
This person left for the day and they won't be back until the morning and I need that.
And they checked it out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's a major pipeline improvement in just the sheer capacity of people who can work on a particular location in the world at one time.
When it comes to my concern about any potential delays and funding, here's what Steven said in regards to that.
The bottom line is I am committed to this project's success and completion. And that means that when it comes to funding for the additional years that perhaps were not planned for, that's coming out of mine and John's pocket. And we're okay with that because what we see in front of us is not only a team of extremely talented individuals, but also a community that is extremely passionate about the project and wanting to see it come to fruition.
But overall, my vibe from the Unreal Engine 5 announcement was that 1. Ashes will likely have a short-term delay, but the project will scale much better into the future. 2. It allows the world in Ashes to be much larger, as with UE4 the max size of a world was roughly 20 kilometers squared, whereas with UE5 it's much larger. 3. Along with the improved graphical fidelity, moving to UE5 will result in better optimization due to the way its nanite technology renders high quality 3D objects. This could result in a more detailed and immersive world that also runs smoother than if they'd have stuck with UE4. I'm no game dev, but after watching a few videos explaining the new tech that Unreal Engine 5 brings, it seems vastly superior to Unreal 4, which started development back in 2003 with a 2014 release. It's essentially an old engine at this point, and one of my main concerns with Ashes has been that if they'd have stuck with Unreal Engine 4 and they had another 2 to 3 years of development until a full release, would the game have looked outdated on launch day? At least with them using the latest tech, if the game does get delayed further, this is less of a concern. Other than the Unreal Engine 5 announcement, the gameplay shown in the recent footage also brought a few other surprises, with the addition of mantling, the ability for your character to climb up rocks similar to how it's done in New World and Black Desert Online. Crouching has also been added to the game, and when your character jumps from a large height, they now roll when landing. Tilt has also been added to the character movement to make running feel a bit more realistic. I know some people don't like mantling in MMOs, but I personally like it a lot in games like BDO and New World, as it makes you feel more connected to the world and allows for some more interesting world design when it comes to climbing mechanics and jumping puzzles. Animations could still use a bit of work, especially the landing roll, but I like the direction they're going with this. Something else fairly significant that was shown in the recent livestream was progress made to the optimization when it comes to large-scale battles. This part of the stream was full of technical jargon, but Steven basically said something along the lines of, Ashes has a new modular appearance component that can combine any set of meshes and materials into a single mesh and single material at runtime. Each character has appearance components from their weapon, body, mounts, and armor, all of which is combined into a single mesh and run from a single draw call down from what was previously 12 draw calls. What was shown in the footage was 1,300 simulated players playing animations with the environment environment enabled, running at around 30 FPS at 1080 resolution. Just to put this into perspective, in the September livestream 3 months ago, we were shown 1000 simulated players unanimated, no environment, without the new modular appearance component, which meant 12 draw calls per player, and it was running at around 7 to 8 FPS. When the appearance components were combined into a single mesh and run from a single draw call, the FPS then increased to about 20. Now, thanks to Unreal Engine 5's Nanite tech, they've upped that further to 30 FPS on 1,300 simulated players with randomized gear, randomized appearances, animations, effects, and environment enabled. You don't need to be a game developer to see that that's some insane progress, and with Ashes having the ambitious goal of making 500 v 500 player battles a reality, this is some encouraging stuff. If you're a game developer and actually understand anything about what I just said, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this in the comments below. Is this as impressive as it seems? Is Unreal Engine 5's Nanite tech really that much of a game changer when it comes to creating truly massive battles in an MMO? Let me know. Something else that was clarified in the recent livestream that apparently had been clarified multiple times before, but I wasn't aware of it, was how the pre-release cosmetics will actually work. I've always been concerned that the sale of cosmetics pre-release will result in everyone looking like endgame characters right out of the gate at level 1, completely ruining the sense of visual progression from playing the game and leveling up. Apparently this won't be the case, as every monthly cosmetic is a weapon and armor skin that they're designing for mobs in the world regardless. You won't be able to equip your skins until you've actually equipped or unlocked that item in-game first, which makes the most sense, and I'm really happy they're taking this approach. One thing I hated about New World was the Twitch drops making people look like crazy endgame characters right off the bat. Kinda immersion breaking, not a fan. So given the recent announcements, what are my expectations for Ashes of Creation going forward into 2022? Personally, I'd expect the next 6 months or so to be pretty dry of announcements, given that Intrepid are likely going to be occupied with the shift to Unreal Engine 5. The next big testing phase for Ashes is its Alpha 2, which will be a persistent alpha with most of the core features nailed down. Due to the fact we still don't have a clear picture of what the hybrid combat system will look like, I wouldn't expect to see Alpha 2 until late 2022. I think backers will probably be able to jump into a few spot tests in the middle of the year to test out combat changes, siege optimization, and some new world bosses. We'll probably get some previews of the Unreal Engine 5 visuals in their full glory, as well as further improvements to the movement and climbing mechanics. Steven didn't really give a clear answer as to how much of a delay the Unreal Engine 5 change will cause, and we didn't get any rough ETA on Alpha 2 either. It looks like Ashes of Creation is still a solid 2 to 3 years away from a full release, and they've made it clear that they have no intention of releasing before the game is 100% ready, which is obviously the right move. In the meantime, at least Lost Ark's right around the corner to keep us occupied until it's time to jump back on the Ashes hype train again. Regardless, I'm overall pleased that Intrepid decided to make the move to Unreal 5, as it seems to be something that will help secure the game's future, allow it to scale, and not look outdated by the time it eventually releases. But that's it for this video, guys. What are your thoughts on Ashes of Creation going into 2022 and the recent announcements about moving to Unreal Engine 5? I'd be especially interested in hearing from those of you who are game devs or more technically minded about how good this engine actually is. Subscribe for more Ashes of Creation content going into 2022, social media links on screen. Thanks for watching, I wish you all a happy new year, and I'll see you again in the next one.